Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Sue, your 2022 Oakland mayoral candidate. Well, it's come to my attention we have more corruption in the city of Oakland. This time the corruption is in the City of Oakland Building Department. No surprise right there. There's very little oversight on a lot of the inspectors. In this case, the inspector is now a former inspector. That was Anthony Harbaugh. Anthony Harbaugh did some illegal inspections, and he was caught on this. And so now the City of Oakland Public Ethics Commission has said that they're going to fine him $22,000 because he is in a official capacity when he took those bribes. And the funny thing about the bribes is no one person can do it alone. In this case, they were doing it in concert. And so another individual, which was Thomas Espinosa, and he was one of the desk clerks, and he's one of those that issues the permits, but also he was doing illegal work on the side, and in this case with federal immunity. My former slumlord, who actually put me on the street, Miss Elizabeth Williams, she was paying bribes to these folks. No surprise there either. As when I lived on Miss Williams' property on 72nd Avenue, it was a single-family home, an older one that was part of the old Oakland Housing Authority back in the day. And this unit originally was a fourplex or a 4-unit house. Well, Miss Williams doubled that. She chopped it up into 8 units. How I know it's illegal is because you have 8 units inside of there on a single metered box, a 100 amp meter box. That's illegal by any standard, especially when you have 8 different units on there, and it was all illegally done. But I'm sure in the city of Oakland, down on the records, it will document that it passed all the inspections. So these are things that continue to haunt future buyers of these properties if they become available on the market, because there are hidden dangers. In this case, Thomas Espinosa was doing electrical wiring, and electrical wiring is usually hidden behind the wall. So you don't know if he did it correctly. Well, we know he didn't do it correctly, and he didn't do it to code, because nothing passed. On the units that Miss Williams had in West Oakland, the legit city inspectors would not pass her units with the wiring that Thomas Espinosa did. So what ended up happening was that Thomas Espinosa called up Harbaugh. Harbaugh went over there next day and signed off on everything, said it was cool. So that's kind of corruption that we see. And we know that landlords here in the Bay Area come in all flavors. So there's no one particular one. You can't say that they're all this color or that color. They come in all flavors. And I've seen it. I've experienced it. I have folks that come to me that tell me about some of the things that are happening to them with their landlord. I have one little lady who drives me around, and she's having major issues. Her landlord even was stupid enough to call the police on her and say that she wants my driver out of her home. And the police officer said, no, it can't be done. We have a COVID shelter in place. You can't evict her. You can't even harass her. In fact, the police officer advised my driver lady to stop talking with her. And I advised her to go talk to the Oakland City Attorney about filing charges, because she's doing some really illegal stuff over there, and my little person needs to get over there and make those claims to the city attorney so that they can be investigated, and possibly a better outcome can be in the future for a lot of folks, because we see evictions, illegal evictions going on all over Oakland right now because the homeless population has grown. And how I know that these are new folks is because you look at the furniture that they bring. It's new. It's too nice to be outside. It's definitely not stuff that you got off the street corner. It's not off. Yeah, this is nice furniture on a lot of them. And they spent money to get some awfully nice tents. They bought generators, all sorts of stuff. So you can tell that they have money. Just that we don't know, to what extent that they can survive. What's their breaking point? What do they have allotted for housing? How did they get to this situation? And so there are a lot of different things that affect how people end up out here living on the streets. In my case, I had a voucher for payment for my unit with that slumlord, and she had some sort of arrangement, and she was only on the list at the shelter that I was staying at, and so she didn't advertise anywhere else. So what can I say is that the slumlord list exists for Oakland shelters, and these are the kind of people that take the people in from the shelters. They take advantage of them. They treat them like plantation slaves. My experience on the unit that I had in East Oakland on 72nd Avenue was that it was run like a plantation. I was the only non-African American person on the site. Everybody else, and then everybody was genuinely in fear of the plantation ma'am, Miss Williams, would evict them. She said, "Oh, she evicts people like crazy. Don't make any problems. Don't complain. Just pay your rent when she comes." And the other thing is that when she does show up, she illegally carries a revolver. As I've seen it in her pocket. If she was carrying legally back then, she would have been required to have it on an open carry. So I'm 100% certain that when she shows up here with the clients, she's carrying a gun every time that she showed up. For the times that rent was being collected, and while I was at the unit, she always had a gun on her. And that's intimidating to a lot of folks to begin with. I didn't really have a problem with it, but I didn't think it was right that she carried a gun. Even though this is a rough neighborhood, there was no need for her to carry it on her person. And everybody said, "Oh, if you call the police on her, you're for sure going to get evicted." And so that's why I never did anything. And it's very disturbing that you have somebody who believes that they're very privileged and takes advantage of people and gets their way. She is a second generation slumlord here in Oakland, and what she told me was that she owned and controlled 600 units in Oakland. And she's not the only slumlord. I know a few more, and I've been researching this for some time, and I have a pretty extensive list. Then the other ones that are the creators for the slumlords are the folks that you see on TV, or you see their signs in the neighborhood saying, "We'll buy your house within 24 hours." Those are the ones that are the ones, they really do a lot of harm here to our low-income neighborhoods. They zap them up, they take care of them, they fix them, they sell them for a huge profit, That's why we have homes now going for $800,000 here in the poorest parts of East Oakland, and then the rents out here, we're looking at $1,800 for an apartment. Who can afford $1,800? I know I certainly can't. These are issues that Oakland started dealing with, but then the mayorships in the past have squelched that, we'll say, and put, how one would put it was, we put it on the back burner for right now, and that's what they did, and it's still on the back burner, but right now city attorney's office has completely changed. The administrations have changed over all the years, so, and nobody's addressed it. And these are things that Oakland really needs to address if they want to get hold of a real affordable housing, because these are the folks that used to go to the courthouse on the days when there was an auction for these properties, and they would bid on them on the door, or literally on the porch steps of the courthouse to buy these properties. But now we have people just literally throwing it in their arms for whatever pennies that they'll get, and that's literally what these folks will do. Because I remember one of those people, we'll say, approached me, with my dad's home when it was going to be seized by the courts. He said, "Well, I'll give you $60,000." I said, "No, are you kidding? $60,000? I know that the house is worth over $100. Oh no, I'm not giving you $100. I got to put too much money into fixing it." Well, then that's what they do. That's what they do, folks. And so that's why we have to protect ourselves and keep people from selling their homes to folks like that. But there's a big slumlord issue, and I'll address it when I'm elected in 2022. And this is the only way that we can actually start locking down affordable housing. We take it back from these purveyors of harm, and we move on. So thank you for joining me today. We'll be right back.